Alright gentlemen, we are here on the heavy, and we are going to be talking about what I think is the most devastating weapon in the game. It is going to be our Heavy Plasma Definitive Build 7.0 here. So this thing really doesn't struggle against anything from Majors to Terminus, and from Tyranids to Chaos. It really has no issues. I like to pair it with the Heavy Bolt Pistol, but the Plasma Pistol is a good option as well. And we're going to go over our class perks, our prestige perks, both of the variants we're going to talk about here, and then we will go over our secondaries as well. And let's start things right here with our prestige perks. We're going Conviction for our 25% health damage every time we lose our armor. Our Perfect Parry and Perfect Block window increases by 25%. Duelist, you're going to want Auxiliary Reload. Definitely if you're in absolute difficulty, you can get a lot of ammo back for your plasma this way. And then as well as Indomitable Spirit. So while performing a gun strike, you do not lose control of taking heavy hits. Now, I like this one because you do get stuck a lot into taking gun strikes because you really don't have a melee option to switch off to. So when you get a gun strike prompt, you're almost forced to take it. And this will just keep everything very smooth, and you won't be suffering any knockbacks when you do have to do that. And then we're going for our core perks here. We got Auxiliary Ammunition to keep our ammo up when needed. We are going Strategic Stand. Now, I used to run Thermal Boost, but I do feel like Strategic Stand with the plasma is very, very nice because of the knockback resistance. And even the knockback on the gun is nowhere near as good as Strategic Stand. And then the 15% more contested health helps as well. But anybody who wants the extra 15% damage after you're 50% overheated, you can go with Thermal Boost. But I'm telling you, it's not that big of a sacrifice of the damage. It's still very powerful without this. And like I said, this is a huge survivability perk to pick up. So, you know, if you haven't looked at it, just take a look at that one. Then we got Overwhelming Power for our 10% more range damage for us and our squad mates within 10 meters when our Iron Halo is active. When it comes to your team perk, I am taking Additional Supplies, but all three of his team perks are extremely good, and you're going to take whatever is benefiting you or your team the most. These are all top tier perks, guys. And then we have Adamant Will for our 20% less health damage when we deactivate our Iron Halo. Now that right there is pairing up very nicely with this. So if you lose armor and you deactivate your Iron Halo, you're going to be at a 45% less health damage, which is huge. And then we have Power Regulator. We are going to take Brute Force. And then we're going to finish things up with Offensive Capability. Now, Offensive Capability, you're not really taking this to do damage to like any enemies around you, but what it's going to help with is like Spore Mines. It'll destroy them when they come in contact with your Iron Halo or too close to it. And then as well as Vines on the ground, you can just activate your Iron Halo and you can walk straight over vines and you will destroy them with your Iron Halo and take no damage. So that is why I really like offensive capability. And when we are looking at the Heavy Plasma itself, now this is going to be our fire rate version here. This is going to give you 4+ fire rate instead of the normal 1+, which is going to charge up your shots much faster. So this is my preferred setup right here, guys. So we're going fire rate version, and then we're going to go over here. We're going to take the bottom line all the way down. We're going to grab as much ammo as we can, and then we are going to pop up here once to grab damage from our charge shot increases by 10%. And then remember, you have this as well. So anytime you just fire a single shot into a group of miners, you're likely going to kill 3 of them, and you will have 25% increased damage for 5 seconds. So this does come through. This comes into play a lot during your operations. So just make sure you're keeping an eye on that and using it effectively. And then when we are going to look at our next version here, this is going to be more of the ammo version. So for the ammo version, you can obviously throw this same setup on here and try it out. You're going to have a ton of ammo, but usually if I am running the ammo version, I am setting it up in this fashion right here. I'll go all the way down here to this fire rate, and then I will go up. So I actually have 20% added onto my charge shots instead of the 10% in the other build, and you're still going to start with more ammo than the other build as well. So this will give you a lot of ammo. It's going to give you 20% onto your charge shots. But your charge shots in general will just charge a lot slower, and it's definitely noticeable. So that is why if you can deal with the fire rate version in the first setup I showed you, I do think that is the best route to go when it comes to the Heavy Plasma. And for a quick look at our secondaries here, so when it comes to our Heavy Bolt Pistol, we are in the ammunition version. We're going all the way to the top row for our 40% onto our headshot damage, and then you're going to dip down here for your increased ammo capacity. So personally, I like to take the Heavy Plasma and I like to take the Heavy Bolt Pistol. I feel like those two pair real nice because if I do feel like I want some like range with some velocity on it, I could always switch over to my heavy bolt pistol, and this thing hits really hard as well. But if you're somebody who wants to run the double plasmas, this is how I set it up. I go for all of the max ammo here, and I also go for the max radius as well. So both of these are really good, but for me personally, I think the heavy bolt pistol is just a better pairing when it comes to running it on the heavy with the heavy plasma. And just something quick to note, I see a lot of people getting this mistake. Heavy immunity, a lot of people think this is going to give you knockback resistance, but it will not. As you even see in here, it doesn't even say knockback. It just says, while in heavy stance, you do not lose control from heavy hits. And I'm going to tell you right now, it is very limited onto what this actually protects you from. So that's why I'm taking Strategic Stand. Even if I have this perk active, you know, Strategic Stand is 100 times better than this thing, and it actually works against nearly everything in the game. This, on the other hand, as I said, I suffer heavy hits, it seems like constantly. So, you know, just don't be, don't think that this is going to replace Strategic Stand or something like that, because it definitely will not.
See those counts?